Hi, my name is Jesse Durham, and I'm back for another quote series. This one's going to be from R. Nelson Nash himself from his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. The quote here is that we can learn how to think intergenerationally. We can learn how to plan intergenerationally. Now, that's a theme that Nash referenced throughout his works, was that we, and he would say that more is caught than taught. So we impact our children and our children's children and so on down by how we do, for sure, a lot more than how we say. And the nuggets that are in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, are very applicable. Now, his experience as a forester is referenced throughout his book, of course, because he says that it taught him to think long range, which is another one of his great principles. So the idea of planting something, considering what that would mean 70 years down the road. And now, in a small way, I've experienced that. My wife and I can remember that we planted fruit trees and nut trees and different plants here on our property that we have before we had children. And now I've literally been able to see our children climb in these fruit trees, playing and eating different things that we grow here. And I can relate and I can understand. So the idea of thinking long range, not just within our lifetime, but intergenerationally. Now, with recognizing that more is caught than taught, if we will take the time to consider what is it that we do that our children are likely to do, and therefore our grandchildren are likely to do because we've done it. Well, we can see what the masses do within their financial footprint. His idea, it's a revolutionary one. It's not normal. It's a complete paradigm shift that the bank can be brought back to the me and you level, that we can become our own bankers, and that we can set our children up for a position much different than where we started from. And then, of course, therefore, our children's children. One of my favorite verses from the Bible actually says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. It's one of my favorites, and I love it because it's long-range thinking in that way. So more's caught than taught. If we are going to start thinking intergenerationally, let's start asking some questions like, what are we doing to set ourselves up, maybe our parents up, with some passive income, a system that creates passive income for their passive income days, for our passive income days? Food for thought. Another is, could we be getting policies now on our children? And there are lots of benefits to getting policies early before any medical issues may have risen to the surface. You can within days of a child's birth, you can actually get a policy on that child. And then, of course, that protection is going to be guaranteed. It'll be a unilateral contract that they'll have for the life of the policy. And the earlier we get a policy, of course, the longer that policy can be in effect. It could be in effect up to 121 years. So those are some things to consider as well when thinking intergenerationally. Could we be getting a policy that way when our children are getting to driving age? We could have access to capital for their first vehicle, wouldn't be beholden to anybody else, wouldn't have any third-party debt, some bad debt elsewhere. We can keep the money within the family. And then, of course, what they actually learn from us. That's one of the greatest legacies that we can leave, is what our children get to see us do, what we can do together. Us educating them to be brought up in being, that can be their reality, that they are their own bankers because we are our own bankers. And so whether it's, a marriage, whether it's financing college, whether it's financing that first car, whether it's them wanting to finance a business venture, there are just so many different things that if we take the proper steps now to actually become our own bankers first, lead by example. And for you grandparents out there, sometimes certain things skip generations, or certain generations, I think about the children of Israel, there was a certain line of thinking. There was a certain line of, old bad habits that had to die out for new ones to develop. maybe your best avenue may be getting a policy on a grandchild. Because a lot of parents may be in the thick of different things, running businesses and just all these different things. I don't know, your situation better, but I'm trying to provide some thought about how we can think generationally by getting policies on different family members, on giving right away or eventually giving policies to family members. Nash talks about his experience of acquiring and building a large system of policies for himself throughout his lifetime, of course. But then in getting to his mature years, how he was giving policies, and the power of a mature policy with the guaranteed growth and the dividends that can be produced in the long range, and of course the access to the capital immediately. It's all to be taken into consideration. But the blessing and the benefit of being able to give, if you so choose, and you can set that up how you want. Again, you're the owner, you have the access and the control. But being able to set up children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren, I believe it was to his great-grandchildren, even in Nash's case, that he was able to gift policies that he'd gotten on family members. So food for thought on how we can begin to act more intergenerationally, how we can think long-term in becoming our own banker. So I hope that this has been helpful. If you have any ideas about quotes that you would like us to be able to address here, please email or message me. And if you would like to see more about how to apply the infinite banking concept in an intergenerational way for yourself, feel free to reach out at durhamtalents@gmail.com for email. And then telephone 828-817-4223. This has been a great pleasure for me. I look forward to our next conversation. Thanks. Have a great day.